Welcome and thank you for joining our webinar today. In about 30 minutes, I'll share more about the possibilities to automate and simplify your administrative processes and communications with the help of EDI. I'm Ishan Patel, managing various projects of logistics, and along with my colleague Bisola, who is our marketing executive, will be your webinar host for today. During this webinar, we will guide you through the trends in automatic communications and what role does EDI play into this, but also what the advantage of using EDI are. In addition, I'll demonstrate a number of scenarios and share a number of tips for a successful approach. And then you will see there are many ways to use EDI, such as pre-announcements of orders. But more about that in a minute. Let's start with where the need for a solution like EDI comes from. Because if you have noticed, especially after Corona crisis, digitization and automation has gained even more attention. And chances are your customer will talk to you about their desire to take the next step into automation. Worldwide organizations see digitization as the outcome of the much needed change to simplify the processes from production to delivery and to be able to continue to be cost effective. Reducing manual actions is one of the quick wins. And this has an impact on your working methods. Because if your partner digitizes the processes of ordering, sending, and storing information, it is also expected from you. So in other words, it is not about whether you want to change. The question really is, how do you prepare your processes for this change? When and where? In order to remain the best party for them, you must therefore join the digitization journey and uh, invest in an innovative technology. Now let's accept that digitization and data communication is nothing new under the sun. EDI was already introduced back in 1970, a digital way to exchange information between different systems without human interaction. But after COVID crisis, digitization has gained momentum. It opens door to replace the daily activities of manual order entry, updating Excel sheets, sending emails. If I put that simply, it saves both your and your customers' time and money. And it also reduces the chances of errors. At the same time, there is a need to be able to follow all processes and steps so that a fully transparent process is created. But what EDI is actually? Just a quick course on EDI. Electronic data interchange is a standard for the electronic exchange of certain business documents such as orders, invoices, and certain messages, or it can be confirmations. This can be done both internally as well externally, and it is all around us. Consider, for example, planning data, stock management, customs data, controlling sorting machines and cranes. So as you can see, EDI makes it possible to easily exchange information between two different computer systems via a standard document format. Examples of some standard document formats are XML, EDIFACT, IDOC, CSV, TAX, JSON, and many other industry and sector standard formats such as Cargo IMP. A document format has a language and structure because systems that communicate with each other often use a slightly different language or structure. And hence a translation or mapping must take place. In short, EDI is the interpreter between the different system languages. Let's look at an example. So for instance, an EDFact message. EDFact was developed by the United Nations and consists of a large set of different messages. An example of message for this is DES-ADB, which is dispatch advice, or you can call it pre-notification, that you can see on the left side of the slide. The DES-ADB is an electronic packing slip. It contains all the details about shipments, such as the sender, receiver, the goods line, and possibly also extensive pallet information. The DES-ADB message is not standard format for boat rates. In order to read the message into dynamics, it has to be mapped into the correct language and structure. To easily map the message, we first translate the EDFact message to XML. We then map the XML with an access LT to the standard XML for bolt tricks registration. We call it receive receipt. Now, what XSLT is? It is a programming language to reshape the documents. Mapping doesn't just translate and distort, but there are also possibilities to add data, merge data, perform calculations, as well do complex transformations. What you can see in this example is that all loose pallets on the EDFact message have a green border. In Booltrix XML, the message has been merged into one line with the separate pallets shown as detailed lines. Well, sometimes companies ask us why EDI? And our counter question is, why wouldn't you want to use EDI? Because everything around us is automated. Do you still want to spend time manually entering orders and sending update emails? You would like to use your time more effectively by optimizing processes and generating more business. It is from order entry to data entry to process management. I hope that it gives you some idea about how that works. We recently interviewed 3 of our customers why they choose EDI, and Visula will take us through what are their thoughts on that.
Thanks, Ishan. Yes, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to take you through 3 case studies where they have actually implemented and are using EDI in their companies. So the first company is AG Logistics. Now, AG Logistics cater to a large customer base, one of them being Kraft Heinz. They are an iconic brand. I'm sure you know them already. You've got their products on your shelf. An iconic brand that continuously looking for ways to simplify processes and operate cost effectively. For this reason, they have demanded one-on-one innovation from their partners and the use of EDI tools. One of the requirements from Kraft Heinz is to make the collaboration work with AG Logistics is basically the need to have a high-end EDI connection. This was very important to them, it's very vital actually. This was needed for tasks such as providing special pallet numbers via an order. Kraft Heinz understand the need to have an EDI connection that brings effectiveness to their organization. Therefore, they understand also that if that connection should go wrong for any reason, the whole process will come to an halt. So to prevent this, AG Logistics ensures to test their connection and to tackle any issues adequately. EDI provides the tools and insights to switch faster and to take immediate action. For example, people in the UK or in the US can see the same information in real time, and the portal also reduces the number of customer inquiries that comes in. So in summary, the high-end EDI link makes AG Logistics a reliable partner, and it saves time overall, which is more important. So the second case study I'm going to go through is from Barca Transport and Warehousing. So when they switched to 3PL WMS, they realized an EDI link with their customers will allow them to increase their customer requirements, to increase their customer requirements and internally reduce manual administrative updates, such as manual order entry, updating extensive Excel spreadsheets, and sending emails. So by creating a link with their customer system and eliminating manual orders entry, they no longer had to send updates manually. This resulted in less time spent on entering orders, and they now automatically send status updates to customers and share stock overviews if required. This simple move enabled them to proactively inform customers and drastically reduce the number of customer inquiries, resulting in the need for one less full-time staff to do this work. Therefore, this employee's knowledge and experience can now be put to use to do different activities. So Barca's next step after implementing this EDI tool is to handle more complex processes with EDI, and I'm sure that would happen in the future. And the third short case study I have for you is from Jenkins. Jenkins is a third-party warehousing and logistic partner for their customers, providing storage for their products until they are ready to be delivered to their specific locations. So Jenkins faced various challenges, including using two legacy systems across multiple sites, manual data inputting, and a lack of real-time reporting were some of their challenges. We've implemented the EDI tools, and their aim is to reduce the amount of manual inputting required and establish better links and real-time data engaging with their customers. So we'll continue to monitor that. So in summary, what we see in all three customer examples is that EDI is a requirement, especially if you work with larger clients. EDI offers benefits for both the clients and the organization. For example, in all three cases, it was apparent that customer inquiries could be drastically reduced, resulting in less time spent answering inquiries. A common consensus from our customers was that by automating this, they all saved time, therefore closing more sales. And I'm sure that's what we are all interested in. As I'm not going to now talk you through how you can implement this in a project. So I can imagine that after all this information, you might wonder, how can you best handle EDI projects? So step one is to start with the right ingredient. Here are 5 tips that can get you started. So number one is provide a clear project overview. So let's look at In doing that, you look at which messages should be exchanged. What is the objective of the parties involved? What should be automated? What are the processes involved? What is necessary and what is nice to have? Step 2 will be to bring the right people and disciplines together. Larger companies have different teams working on different parts of the project. There must be sufficient knowledge on both sides to make the project successful. Step 3 is to get commitment from the whole team. At the start of the project, there must be a sufficient commitment from all parties for adequate test capacity and response. Focus is important for successful integration. Step 4 is to appoint a project owner. It is important that there is a driving force that monitors the overview and the process of the project. This will keep the momentum going and prevent messages from going astray. And the final step will be to make clear agreements about the communication method. How are we going to talk to each other digitally when on a project? Which language and how do we exchange messages? Make clear agreements and put them on paper. That way, everyone knows what is agreed. So the next step is how to deal with this. This works best with the following success factors. I've got 3 for you. Number 1, research. First, do your due diligence and investigate. And then with the customer, determine what needs to be done. For example, gathering technical information and mapping out which party will do what. It is also very important to coordinate whether new processes are needed in the system, such as scan or packaging processes. Number 2, connect. Then bring all involved parties and people together during the kickoff. In the kickoff, all of the above ingredients matter. It is possible to coordinate who will have what responsibility, who will take responsibility for what. Okay, and also when. It can also be nice to agree on fixed days and times for cooperation, especially with parties who work on different time zones. And the final way to manage your EDI project would be priority. By picking up the most necessary flow first and finishing flow by flow and putting it live, you work more efficiently. The ingredients and success factor provide a clear project with realistic visibility deadline and a short lead time. So I hope that has been helpful to you. So what I'll do now is to hand you over back to Ishan, who will to find out how this works technically. So over to you, Ishan.
Thank you, Bisola. EDI connector. So EDI connector is a separate module which is developed by Voltrix, and it is for 3PL Dynamics. It has 110 plus message types, which are now supplied for all conceivable documents and processes. This module communicates standard messages, which is in our language and structure. There are incoming messages and outgoing messages. The incoming messages will only pick up messages that conform to our format, and the outgoing messages only send out the format, which is in our format. The incoming messages can create or update a document, whereas the outgoing messages send out the data from a document. If you communicate with other parties or systems that do not comply with our format, then mapping will therefore have to take place. And this can be done by yourself, your customer, or third party. But Bultrix can also take care of this for you. And if we take care of this for you, we will do this through DataHub. DataHub is a platform for accepting, transforming, and passing on EDI information, and it is exclusively for and by Bultrix customers. The DataHub is a cloud-based solution, and it runs on the secure environment of Microsoft Azure. As well, it is fully integrated into Dynamics, and it can be seen as an additional module. You can also call it collective customization. On the slide, you can see that the message can be sent or retrieved on the left side of the DataHub. We call this export. In other words, we export EDI information to the DataHub. This can be submitted from a message type in Dynamics or from any other party. Sending or retrieving messages can be done via various protocols such as AS2, X400, email, FTP, and via a number of developed APIs. The standard message types included with the EDI connector in Dynamics supports HTTP and local store only. If your external party requires to communicate with a different protocol, you will soon need a platform such as DataHub. Once the file is received on DataHub, it can be scrambled to the correct language and structure. There is also the possibility to create multiple messages from one message. Consider, for example, a shipping confirmation you want to share with your customer as well recipient. The message can both have different format and transmission protocol. And of course, the DataHub supports all conceivable EDI formats. The messages are sent via the import of the right side of the sheet. The import imports the file to the final destination, and this can be done via same protocols as for the export. All DataHub flows are set up in Dynamics and can also be viewed and analyzed in Dynamics. If you choose the DataHub, we take care of the links, that is connection between the systems, the mapping and the layout of the message types. Also, we take over the large part of the initial testing. Jenkins, for example, has deliberately chosen the DataHub from Bultrix instead of an external broker because it saved, in their opinion, an additional communication link, and therefore less time is needed in terms of coordination. That was for now what we wanted to share with you around the topic EDI. We have sent a quite bit of information your way, and hopefully you have been inspired by the possibilities. Before we get into any questions, let's give a quick summary of what we have just shared. You can respond with an ease to the customer wishes. For example, you can meet the requirements of a customer, which can give them opportunity of having 24/7 insights into the latest status of their orders. Also have the advantage for you as a logistics service provider. When you receive information digitally, consider the time savings because you no longer have to enter the orders manually. In addition, it offers the possibility to reduce manual. Excuse me. You can also, for example, realize a link with external transport system so that the trips are planned immediately. Further, it helps you to show that you can do in the field of automation, in other words, profiling. And you can benefit from an always up-to-date library with collective customization. As Wouter already indicated, 51 customers and 124 partners have been engaged via our platform. All right, well, that brings us to the end of this webinar. Thank you all for your participation. We hope the content was interesting and valuable to you. You can find more interesting information in our blog post on our website. There you can see another look at, for example, the best ways to implement EDI in your operation. For now, thank you again for your participation, and I hope to meet you during our next webinar.